All right, welcome back to another episode of Ask a Clutter Boss, the internet's best weekly decluttering advice show. I am Jess Marcy. I am your clutter boss for today, and happy Tuesday. It's the first Tuesday in September, and I woke up and it was 40 degrees outside, which was a surprise. I was not expecting cold weather, but hey, I will take it. I will take it. I'm curious where you are joining us live from and what was your temperature this morning? I think that we're all over the place around the country right now when it comes to temperatures. Judging by the questions, good morning, Mary. Judging by the questions that were submitted today, I think we're all feeling a little back to school and general home organization angst. I know that on a coaching call last week in Clutter Boss Academy, we were talking about how even if you don't have kids that are going to school or don't have kids at all, you still feel like a kind of pressure to organize come September. Things definitely shift. So if you're feeling that, let me know in the comments. I know that I am feeling that for sure. And I do have kids going back to school this year. So Rochester, 48 degrees. Yeah, it's chilly in New York today. Chilly in New York. Good morning, Holly. Good morning. All right, let's dive into today's questions. The first one is it made me think. Actually, I'm going to do them in reverse order. I'm going to end with I'm going to end on the first one. So let's start with these other ones that are a little bit more about kind of back to school. Julia, nice to see you here. Linda, San Diego in the pleasant 70s. That does sound pleasant. Terry, good morning. Good morning. All right, we're going to go in reverse order on these questions here. Okay, how can I get my kids involved in decluttering their rooms before school starts? I'm overwhelmed with all of the stuff that they have accumulated. When it comes to children and dealing with clutter, decluttering, I consider to be a lifelong skill. The earlier you learn it, the better, and it's never too late to learn how to declutter. I mean, hello to everybody who's learning to declutter later in life, right? That's the majority of our groups. But when you have children, you have an awesome opportunity to teach them this life skill. And I like to look at decluttering when it comes to teaching kids stuff, the same as I look at any other chore: how to do the dishes, how to do the laundry, how to cook for yourself. These are lifelong skills that you're going to need. Decluttering is basically a daily chore. If there is stuff coming into your house, there needs to be stuff going out of your house, right? That's a basic principle that we teach in Clutter Boot Camp. You have to live within the space that you have. The only way that you can live within the space that you have, if you're continuing to bring stuff in, is to continue to let things go. So just starting to use this language with children is really helpful. I also think in the broader context of life, when you teach a child to declutter, what you're really teaching them is how to make decisions and how to assess what is most important to them. So when you teach a child how to declutter, you're really saying, what do you value of the things that you own the most and why? And those are very translatable skills. As they get older, they're able to look at potential significant others and say, I'm looking for this list of characteristics. I value this and not that. They feel okay letting go of things. That sense of loss, they learn how to deal with it early in life. And that is a gift that you are giving to your children. So a lot of times, we think of decluttering as taking away or a loss, or a chore that's just arduous. Think about it when it comes to teaching your kids how to declutter as a gift that you're giving them. You are empowering them with a life skill that not only is going to help them with their clutter in the future, but it's going to help them in all other areas of their life. And that is a gift. That is a gift. Now, helping your kids understand how much space they actually have is really important. And depending on their age, that really, they can be more or less involved in the process. My children are 15 and 17. They do their own decluttering. I don't help them. I want to, but I know it's a boundary and I know that they have the skills, and maybe they choose to keep more than I would in one case. But I know that the foundation is there and they have executive ownership over their stuff. And as long as their bedrooms are kept pretty well, and they're not drowning in things, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. There's a little give and take. When my kids were younger, I definitely talked to them about things coming in and things going out. So if they wanted to buy a stuffed animal, we would talk about how, do we have space for this? Is it going to fit? Does it have a home in your bedroom? Does it have a spot to live? Because if something comes into your house and it doesn't have a space where it is going to stay, where it's going to live, if it doesn't have a home, it's already clutter. If something comes into your house and it does not have a designated space to be kept, it is already clutter. So it's very important that we talk through these things beforehand. With my children, I would often say, do we talk about, do we have money for something, right? That's a common thing that we all talk to our children about. We can't afford this. We can afford this. Maybe we can budget for this. Maybe you can save part of your allowance for this. Do we have money for this? Do we have time for this? Are we bringing in something that is going to take a lot of our time to take care of it? Are we committing to something, to an obligation that's going to take a lot of time? I mean, we talk about this with sports and extracurricular activities. We can talk about it with stuff also. And do we have space for this? This is the third parameter that needs to be discussed. Do we have space for this? Specifically, do you in your bedroom have space for this item? And if not, before we can bring it in, assuming we have the money for it, assuming we have the time to take care of it, we have to make the space for it. And the only way to make the space for something new in life is to let go of something that is no longer serving you, no longer relevant, something you no longer love. And it is okay that you loved this thing in the past and now you have grown and changed and you don't love it anymore. Pass it along to somebody else who is going to love it. And the great thing with kids, it's so easy to donate their stuff there. It's so easy to pass it along to other children. It's not like as adults, sometimes, we have dishes from our great grandmother, and, there's not a big market for that right now, possibly. With children's toys, it is so easy to find another kid who is going to love those toys. So passing it along is very easy. So really get into the habit of teaching your kids, do we have time for this? Do we have space for this? Do we have money for this? Those are the three questions. And then if they are in a very cluttered environment, find a way to make it easy and fun to start decluttering. Another thing I did with my kids when they were younger is I would do, let's reduce by 10%, right? So if we have more pants than fit into our drawer, can we lay out 10 pairs of pants and pick one that you don't love? That's 10%. Same thing with stuffed animals or Lego sets or Polly Pockets or whatever the toy is right now. I'm not actually up to speed on children's toys right now, but whatever it is, can we let go of just 10%? Make it fun. Don't act like it's a huge burden, right? You dictate the mood. So as a parent, you're dictating the mood, and get them involved in that way. Can we just reduce a little bit at a time? I'm going to go back to this question because I feel like I might have gotten off tangents here. Hello, Heather, Sherry, Debbie, Carrie, Linda, Caroline. Hello. 83 in Huntsville, Alabama. Much warmer than it is here. Kathy says it's 70 in Illinois. Mitzi, good morning. Okay, how can I get my kids involved in decluttering their room before school starts? I'm overwhelmed with all the stuff they've decluttered. So that is how. Another thing that you can do is just give them a box. Say, can you fill this up with things that you don't love? Give them a bag. Can you fill this up with things that you don't love anymore? Can we play the MINS game together? Can we get one item out today? Each of us, bring your one item down. Tomorrow, bring your two items down. The next day, bring your three items down. Make it a fun family challenge. Those are my best tips, I think, for getting kids involved. This is your starting point, right? Moving forward, we're using new language, we're setting an example in a different way, and don't beat yourself up for how things are. Make a change moving forward. There is a little bit of identity involved with decluttering all the time. So when I was really shifting to a decluttered lifestyle, and actually anytime that I make a shift as a parent, I always say your new mom is this way, right? So I would like your new mom expects you to clean up after yourself every time you leave the table, right? Your old mom didn't, but new mom, new mom says you have to do this. And I think embracing that identity shift with any, it doesn't have to necessarily be with children, but just in general, I used to be a decluttered person. Now I'm or I used to be a cluttered person. Now I'm a decluttered person. So your decluttered mom, your decluttered wife, your decluttered friend, and even if you're just talking to yourself, decluttered Jess doesn't live this way anymore. All right. So shifting your identity, changing the way you refer to yourself, and helping your kids along can be really, really powerful. So, those are my long winded tips on what to do if your children's room is very cluttered right now. If you have anything that's been successful in the past, go ahead and pop it into the comments for sure. And I often get a question related to this. Can I throw out my kids' stuff? So I want to just a word of caution. And if you have done this in the past, this is judgment free always. Throwing out your children's stuff, the older they get, the more tricky this becomes. We have many, many people in our clutter boss communities who have experienced as children coming home to a bedroom empty of stuff, moving and losing all of their stuff, somebody throwing out something very significant to them. And I believe that this can be a trigger of hanging on more tightly to things as an adult. I always encourage you to get your kids involved, no matter what age. Occasionally, there is a little wiggle room if the kids are younger and they have trash and that you're cleaning up their room and you're just throwing out some stuff, or if you know they're not going to miss something and you kind of put it away for a little while and see if they ask for it. Those type of things, you're going to make a judgment call then. But the older they get, the more important it is that you involve them in this process. Oh, and I remember what I was going to say before. If your kids choose to let go of something, do not stand in the way of them letting that go. Do not go through their bags of stuff to make sure they're not throwing out something that you want to keep. Be very clear that it's their stuff. This is their decluttering. If they choose to let it go, don't go through it and say, well, oh, are you sure? Do you want to keep this? If you feel like that will happen, then maybe get your significant other involved or just don't be around when they're doing it. If there are specific things you really don't want them to let go of, be clear that that's coming from you and just say it beforehand. Like, make sure you don't let go of the dress that you need for church or, whatever. But just make sure you're not standing in the way of the decluttering process. So sometimes our own emotions can get involved with our kids' stuff. And that's a tricky area to navigate, but you can do it because you are a boss. You are a boss. Okay. That was question number 1. Question number 2 is a little bit similar. How can I get my kids' homework station organized before the school year starts? I'm drowning in old school projects and artwork. Should I keep, toss, or try and organize it all? If you have a kid's homework station and you need to get it organized before the school year starts, what I would do, because the school year is upon us, is I would take everything off of that space, put it into a box or a bin, and then make sure that you go through it. Do not let that just sit in the box or the bin. You want your kids to have clear space to work. That is number 1 priority. Children's executive functioning skills, really, they're developing, right? And they really benefit from having space to work, space to be creative. They benefit from having an organized, clear space. It helps them with their executive functioning skills. So I would create the clear space first, but put on your calendar to go through the stuff in the boxes or the bins. And in the future, do this in May or June, whenever school ends. So sit with your kids, have them pick out their top 10 things from the school year, right? Because then you have the whole collection. This school year's worth of stuff, that's one collection. Have them pick out their top 10 things they want to save. You pick out your top 10 things you want to save, put that into a memory box, and that's that. You can also take pictures of artwork. You can take pictures of writing samples, turn it into a book. This is what I do every year with my kids. But for right now, give them their clear space, go through the stuff pretty soon, whittle it down to a reasonable amount because we can't keep everything. Take pictures if you need to, and let go of the stuff that does not rise to the top 10 because as an adult, you're not going to want everything that you ever did as a child. And it's helpful if we are pretty honest about that with ourselves right now. All right. Great comments today. So if you have anything to share, please go ahead and post it into the comments. The last question, this is a really good one. And I feel like I might get on my soapbox a little bit here. So just a warning. I am still overwhelmed by clutter in my floor space and I don't know what to do. How do I even start to move forward when everything is cluttered and my schedule makes it feel impossible to declutter? Okay. We need to be so, so, so honest with ourselves here. If you have clutter everywhere and your schedule makes it feel impossible to declutter, we need to look at that schedule and we need to just eliminate everything that is holding you back from accomplishing this goal. We know that when we live in a less cluttered environment, we have more time, we have more mental clarity, we have more energy. Every single thing is easier. If you have a flood under your sink, it is easier if you do not have clutter. If you need to let somebody into your house to like an electrician or a plumber, it is easier if you don't have clutter. If you have a busy week, it is easier if you don't have clutter. Making a sandwich is easier if you don't have clutter. Doing laundry is easier if you don't have clutter. Waking up in your bedroom is easier if you don't have clutter. And I'm not saying to be a minimalist. I'm not saying things have to be perfect. I am just saying the truth is the less clutter you have, the easier your life is every single day. So if your schedule is dictating that you can never declutter, you need to take a really hard look at that schedule and decide what needs to go. Do you need to be volunteering for things? Can you tell your boss you need a little break in the amount of responsibility you have? Can you tell the other people in your family you need a little break in the amount of responsibility you have? Can you tell other people in your family who live in your house they need to help out because new you cannot do this any longer. You need to ruthlessly put yourself first. And if decluttering is a priority, it needs to be a priority on your schedule. If you wake up every day and say, I need to declutter, and then you do nothing, that's not a goal. That's not a priority. That is just a wish or a dream. You are the only person that can turn this into a reality. And if you are struggling with some aspect of how to turn this into a reality, if you're struggling with telling people no, if you're struggling with boundaries, if you're struggling with any of this, get support. Get support. Support looks like a therapist, a counselor, joining perhaps our It's All Clutter Facebook group and asking people to support you as you go through this. But really, if this is a big struggle, probably a therapist is the first place to stop. You have to make a change in your life, and only you can do this. And the good news is you can do this. You can. You can make that change, but nobody can do it for you. You can do this. Doesn't matter how much clutter you have, and it does not matter how long you have lived with clutter. It does not matter the horrible circumstances that have gotten you to this point. All of this is a surmountable challenge. You can do this. There is hope for every single person out there, but you have to take those first steps. You have to say, I'm getting support. I'm making a change. Things are going to be different moving forward. And if you have resentment around other people not helping out, you need to work through that too, because that was a huge thing that I was struggling with when I started decluttering and this whole journey. And I read that resentment is like taking a poisonous pill and expecting somebody else to get sick. I felt like I was justified in my resentment, but at the same time, sitting in a space of resentment and not taking action was not serving me whatsoever. So figure out how can you move forward? If you're overwhelmed, What can you do for 5 minutes? Can you pick up one single thing and go through that for 5 minutes? You can, but nobody else can do it for you. Yes, this is the hard truth. And it is a hard truth because we are so programmed and we have so many just social pressures on us to be everything, do everything, and we feel like we have to, have to, have to, have to. The only thing that you truly have to do is prioritize your own sanity. Because when you create an environment for yourself that lifts you up every day, you have the ability to lift up everyone around you. It is not a selfish thing to put yourself first. It is a selfless act to put yourself first. So, if that was the message you needed to hear today, give me a little fire emoji in the comments. If you need support doing this, you don't know where to start, get into our It's All Clutter community on Facebook. It is free, it is judgment free. There is so much support there. Join a clutter boot camp. There's one almost every month. We have one coming up in 2 weeks, I think. It's a great starting point. Invest in yourself with your time and energy. Invest in yourself. You can do this. We are here to support you every step of the way. All right. On that note, happy September. Thank you for all the fire emojis. Happy September. We are cruising into the last 4 months of this year, and we are going to make changes. If you set a goal in January and you have not yet hit that goal, it is never too late to start. Never too late to start. If you are ready to dig in and really take action, announce it in, in the comments here and make good on your word to yourself. Make good on your word to yourself. You are a clutter boss. There is a path forward for everyone, and we are here to support you. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for the last 20 minutes. We will be live again next week, same time, same place. If you find this content really helpful, please like, comment, and share. It is the best way that you can support a small online business, which is what we are, a very small online business. Like, comment, and share. It means the world to us. Thank you for being here. I will see you all next week. Happy decluttering, my friends.